Hello and welcome to Manchester United, the D in its view. This is my first episode, other than the live show, post Erik Ten Hag being sacked by Manchester United. Like, Ineos have made the decision. I'm actually still surprised that it took them this long in order to make the change. I don't understand why it would take this long to realise that, the results weren't going to turn. We knew this at the end of last season, that other than the FA Cup win, there was one positive result in about, pretty much that whole season. It was a poor season last season, and this season didn't start any better. And Ineos deciding, I know it was kind of unfortunate because they actually played fairly well against West Ham, but lost. It seemed to be I think it encapsulated Ten Hag's sort of reign at Manchester United. Just chaos. And against West Ham, it was exactly the same thing. Like, they looked really good in the first half and they were disappointing and they lost. They allowed West Ham to come into the game, and that's what happened under Erik Ten Hag far too often. Their game management from game to game within games was poor. Quite often he was out-coached, out-tacticked, however you want to put it. That's essentially what happened near on almost every single time over the last 18 months, essentially. The first season, looking back at the first season, there was definite signs of progress. But if you look at the underlying stats, United probably outperformed where they really should have been in that first season under Ten Hag. And then from then on, it's been just pretty much a disaster. The regression in the team, in all the players that he's actually signed and that, has just been poor. I mean, we look back now at his signings, and probably the only ones you can say without fail have been good are probably Johnny Evans, who came in literally as a fifth, sixth choice centre-back. He's been fantastic for him. Christian Eriksen's definitely been a pass. Casemiro in his first season. And then Martinez has been good. And Anana, shaky start last year. He's been much better this season. He does look a lot more accomplished and settled back there. But you've got to ask what he's actually done for the club. Yes, he's maybe installed some more discipline and some more ideas behind, like, what we should be doing moving forward. But I think we'll look back at his reign as being quite mediocre and quite disappointing. I mean, it wasn't quite as bad as David Moyes in terms of points per game. But if you remove the first season, he was worse than David Moyes. So I'll leave you with that one. But look, it needed to be done. As I said, I'm shocked it didn't happen in the summer. I was legitimately shocked it didn't happen in the summer. And it was just in a matter of time. As soon as the first results started going poorly, he was on a hiding to nothing. And unfortunately, he's gone. And I think that's all you pretty much want to spend on Erik Ten Hag. I covered my thoughts on it a lot in the live stream the other night. So check that out if you haven't, if you're on YouTube. But look, he's been poor, and Manchester United needed to move on. They needed to get into the next phase of whatever the hell's going on. The biggest problem we've got now is that Erik Ten Hag was responsible for so many of these signings. Whoever comes in next is going to say, well, it's not my squad. So I don't know what to say to that. I think that's going to be the hard thing. I'm not sure how that's going to work moving forward. I just think that potentially Manchester United there's obviously a plan. We've obviously been linked with Manuel Amorim from Sporting Lisbon. He's a young coach, 39 years old. He's a year older than me. That's how young he is. So look, I think moving forward, I think potentially he could be a good thing. His formation that he plays is 3-4-3. So I was like trying to work out how that's going to look for Manchester United moving forward. So I can see De Ligt, Yoro and Martinez potentially starting as the three centre-backs. Then who knows what is going to happen on the left. We still don't really have a left-back that's fit or a left wing-back. I mean, Shaw has shown he can play there previously. Malacia, I'm sure, has got the engine if he actually becomes fit. And Harry Amass, you would say, definitely probably could suit that role. Dalot, I would imagine, would be on the right, which then means probably, I can't remember if Ugarte came from Sporting Lisbon or not. He definitely came from the Portuguese league. So Amorim would know his qualities, you would think, and hopefully be able to get the best out of him. Maybe that's why we signed him in the first place in the summer. We will never know unless Ineos come out and tell us. And And then it'll be interesting to see what he does up front. I mean, yeah, who he prefers, who he starts. If he obviously comes in, there's no guarantee he's going to come in. Sporting have announced that, United have offered to pay his release clause. So obviously he's the number one target. Amaron's talked to the media after their last game and, the other day, I think yesterday, and basically said, he can't confirm or deny. Obviously there are talks, but at the end of the day, it is his choice. Does he really want to take this job on? If he's got the mentality for it, by all means, mate, we will have you. I think this is what I mean. Like, he's 100% going to get a free run this season because, he's coming in mid-season. You can't expect him to do anything other than, hopefully just to show some sort of signs of improvement. Even though we're only 9 games in and there's still a chance to turn the season around, you can't be putting that pressure on him because he's coming in with fresh ideas and he's going to have to learn the squad and the squad is going to have to learn him. It will be interesting to see what kind of coaching staff gets turned over here as well. Does Ruud Van Nistelrooy stay after he's been the interim manager? Or does he leave? Does Rennie Haki stay or leave? You would imagine that most of Ten Hag's coaches are going to leave, you would think. How much money is that going to cost the club? Is it going to impact on PSR? These are all relative and pertinent questions for the weeks and months ahead. I think there's going to be a significant period of turmoil here again in regards to getting someone in, changing the squad, setting it up for success moving forward. Maybe that's what they were doing in the summer, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But look, neither here nor there. We've covered that. I'll get back to that a little bit later on. But we did have a game this morning. The first game of the post-Erik Ten Hag era started with a bang. Manchester United, the goals were flowing. The goals are flowing. The football was good. Can't deny it was exciting. We were a little porous in defence, probably a little bit too open. Bayern there didn't look that flash and goal, to be honest with you. I think Andre Onana probably would have prevented at least one of those 2 goals, especially the second goal. I feel like Bayern there probably should have done better with that one. But look, what could you say? We're back to winning ways. We're scoring goals. Post Erik Ten Hag, I think, got over 4 goals once or twice in his whole reign. First game he's left, we get 5. I know it's against Leicester and it's Carabao Cup. We still scored 5 goals. Lots of positives to take out of it. Casemiro back in the starting lineup with Ugarte. All right, so that was interesting. So we lined up in it looked like a 4-2-3-1 still. So in the back line, we had Martinez left back. De Ligt actually started with Victor Lindelof in the centre of the defence, which I thought was a little bit interesting. Victor Lindelof somehow finding his way back in the team, but hey. Dello was obviously at right back. In the midfield, we had Ugarte partnering Casemiro. And look, Casemiro got forward here and did brilliantly. He was fantastic in this game. In front of them, we had Bruno Fernandes. Joshua Zirkzee actually got the nod here instead of Rasmus Højlund, which I thought was interesting. Maybe it's the Dutch connection. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Or maybe they just wanted to give Højlund a rest after he started on the weekend. I'm not sure. Maybe the fitness or whatever comes into it a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. Garnacho again started on the left and Marcus Rashford again started on the right. Now, Marcus Rashford, I don't know how much he did. Garnacho obviously scored another goal here, and, that was another brilliant move. Dalot cutting across, nice ball across the box. Ironically, that's something Dalot didn't do last week. Poor decision-making in terms of putting it across the box last week. But this week, perfect cross. Garnacho, easy finish. Casemiro, absolute worldie from like 25 yards out to get the scoring up and going. Killed a beautiful goal into the top corner, which was, absolutely brilliant. And you could tell then that the stadium felt good. The fans were singing for Ruud Van Nistelrooy. I was singing for Ruud Van Nistelrooy. And, it was just that feel-good factor, like the weight of just whatever Erik Ten Hag had put the spell under the club had been lifted. The fans were up and about. The players definitely looked up and about. And look, the result followed. Obviously, Casemiro then scored another one. Marcus Rashford cross in. He hit the post actually originally with his header, and then he followed it up and made sure it went in. And then obviously Bruno Fernandes had a free kick. It was on target, but it was thanks to James Justin massively deflected header from the free kick that took that one into the net. So look, I don't know how much you could say about that one, but yeah, look, that was was another good result. Let's be honest. I think that's all you can really say about it. I think it's just good. It was good to have football back and for United to be good. Now, we did concede some sloppy goals and we did look more open. And then that might be because of the fact, the tactics were different. They're probably trying to sort it out. And like Ugarte and Casemiro haven't played together, so there was probably a hint of that. Lindelof obviously hasn't played centre defence or Delip before either, I don't think. I think when he played the other week, it was with Martinez. I could be wrong. I might be making that up. But look, those kind of things are going to happen. And obviously the goalkeeper was changed, and I think that contributed significantly to at least one of the 2 goals we conceded. But look, it was good. That's all we can expect is positive. You need that bounce after you sack a manager, because obviously that means the results haven't been good. And if you're not getting that bounce and that kick on, then I think it's going to be a very long season if we didn't. So look, we are through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, and that's exciting. We've actually been drawn away at Tottenham, which is probably we actually got the hardest draw. Us and Tottenham, because Arsenal have got, I think I'm not sure. They've got Palace, I think, and Southampton have got Liverpool, and then Newcastle has whoever won yesterday that I'm forgetting. So like the 2 big teams that are playing off against each other in the quarterfinals is United away at Tottenham. So that's going to be a much harder game. Hopefully we've got a new manager installed by then. It's the 17th of December that kickoff for that week, that midweek. Sorry, it'll be either on Tuesday or Wednesday that week. So the 17th, probably on Wednesday, because we're probably on playing the Europa League and probably playing on the Sunday. So we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. But look, that's exciting. Well, I might actually be able to go to that game as well. No, I can't, because it's an away game. That's unfortunate. If it had been a home game, I'm actually in the UK for that time, so I could have gone up for the game, but alas, I will not be able to, so that's unfortunate. But you never know, might be able to get an away ticket to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You never know. We'll just have to have a look. But yeah, look, that's exciting. And I was actually shocked on Monday when they made the decision to sack him. Like, I just didn't expect it then. I expected it during the international break, which would have made a bit more sense, because we had a nice run of games here, other than Chelsea at home this coming weekend in the Premier League. All the other games are really winnable games. And I felt like if you're going to make a decision, you would have just done it over that 2 weeks. Or maybe they were just sussing it out, what they were going to do, waiting for like the next loss, and then boom, see you later. I don't know. I'm not sure the reasoning why, but I tell you what, people were sitting there wondering whether Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe can be ruthless. I think that this sacking, the way they did it on Monday, was ruthless. It was decisive. There was no mucking around. There was no fluffing about. They pulled the trigger and out he went. He was gone. So I think that's a really positive thing. And I still come back to in the summer, when you get new management or new owners come in, normally the manager always gets replaced. And the fact that Erik Ten Hag somehow survived, I think we can look back now and say that was clearly identified that was a bad mistake from Ineos. They shouldn't have allowed that to happen. Erik Ten Hag should not have been allowed to take control for this start of this season. Now, we'll never know 100% whether those were his signings or if they were Ineos signings or if there was 50-50. Because you could argue that Lenny Yoro and Manuel Ugarte definitely don't appear to be Ten Hag signings. Maybe they are definitely Ineos signings. But the other 3, they're all either Dutch or they've played for him before. So, the jury is definitely out there. What a new manager thinks coming in, what players he likes. I think definitely one thing we still definitely need is a proven goal scorer. I mean, Xerxes did not score again today. Rasmus Højlund came on in the second half. Late in the second half, he didn't score either. So I think goals are still going to be a massive problem for this team moving forward. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed ASAP. I think that is the most glaring area of the squad. You need a reliable goal scorer moving forward. That has to be the priority for Ineos in identifying a forward that is going to consistently get you 20 goals a season. That will make a big difference in your league position, the amount of points you accrue, the amount of draws that turn into wins or the losses that turn into draws, because you've actually got someone that is a guaranteed source of goals playing in your team. That's what Manchester United need moving forward. And I think that position itself is just as important as getting the next manager right. Now, Amaron has obviously, he's young, he's 39 years old. I don't know if he would be the youngest manager we've got, but we've ever had, but he's got to be close to it. I would suggest that he probably is. I could be wrong. I could be making this up. I haven't actually done the research for this one, but I imagine that he must be very close because I can't remember us ever having anyone under 40 before. Like, definitely not in my lifetime. Might have been when we're like talking 50, 60 years ago. Let me know in the comments if you know who is our youngest ever manager. But if he does come in, he will be 39 years old. And I'm not talking caretaker manager because obviously Michael Carrick looked after a few games and he was mid-30s. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proper full-time managers that have looked after the team and managed it. So I think that I like it. It's bold. We don't know if it's going to work 100%, but if he's got some of he seems to be quite charismatic in comparison to Ten Hag, who we can always 100% say now was non-charismatic. He was very stubborn in his ways, and if something wasn't his way, it was the highway. It was like the Cristiano Ronaldo, no, we'll humiliate him, boom, and then he speaks out, he's gone. Jadon Sancho, another case in point. I don't know if that management or the lack of man management has paid a big downfall in his reign across the few years. It's obviously upset and put off some players within the squad. And you can see like some of the things that he's done. Have they worked? No, they haven't. Ultimately, he's been culpable. He's been given more reign as Manchester United manager than anyone else post Sir Alex Ferguson. And ultimately, he's failed. And that's how you have to look at the reign in the totality. Yes, he won us 2 cups. Congratulations. They were 2 days out that we had that will, as United fans, will have great memories of, particularly the FA Cup final last year. That was probably my favourite night of this year so far. It was a great game, great result. But you can't be relying on one moment of magic, one night of magic a year. You need to be consistent. You need to have development of your style of football. You need to have consistency in results, particularly in the league. And the league table does not lie. We finished 8th last season. We're 14th currently. We're closer to the relegation zone than the top 4. That says all you need to know. And I think that's probably why Ineos have decided to make this decision. And moving forward, it is the smart decision to have made. So, look, what are we going to get against Chelsea? We're not sure. So, the news is moving fast. Apparently, Amaron could be in charge for Sunday. I mean, we are now on Thursday, like morning Australian time. It's still Wednesday night in the UK. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days before Sunday for United to agree a deal and for him to be in charge. Will it happen? Apparently Sporting Lisbon, I think, play on Friday. It could be his farewell game. I can't imagine him still being in charge for that game, managing it, leaving, and then being in charge for Sunday. I think Ruud Van Nistelrooy will still be in charge for Sunday against Chelsea, and he'll probably be in the stands, would be my guess. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that would definitely be my guess. And then he'll get a free run of it starting in the Europa League next week against PAOK or something like that. Or maybe they hold off on making a decision or appointing him until the next international break, which is obviously at the end of next Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me if we've got a little short period here of Ruud Van Nistelrooy games, and if they start and continue as well as they've started against Leicester tonight, I'm all on board for it because it looks like it's going to be a bit of fun football, a bit of fun atmosphere, a bit like when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over after Jose Mourinho, like the feel-good factor. It's not like the Ragnick factor where you're like, everyone just knew it was just going to be a shit show for the rest of the season and the players played accordingly. I feel like the players 100% were playing for Ruud Van Nistelrooy overnight, and that's exciting in and of itself. I mean, the dude is a Man United legend. A bit like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's always going to have that lift up of the crowd. And the amount of times that his name was sung tonight during the game was quite frequent. And, that's exciting. So, look, really quick, short reaction there. If there is news on Manchester United announcing a new permanent manager before this week's game against Chelsea at home, I will be back with another episode on that. But if there is not, I'll be back after the Chelsea game. I think we can get a positive result against Chelsea. I think that there's going to be goals. Chelsea's defence aren't as stable as other defences have come up against. But I also think that they will potentially score against our defence as well, particularly if we play like we did tonight. We were quite open, but we were very attacking. So I can imagine there's going to be quite a few goals in the next game. I'm just excited to see what happens post Erik Ten Hag, because it has been a hard slog over the last 18 months. Bar that FA Cup win, it's been a long haul. So look, join me for later in the week. Either I'll be back with a manager update, or I'll be back after the Chelsea game. Hopefully we continue the positive form that we saw tonight in the Carabao Cup. And remember, we have been drawn against Tottenham away in the quarterfinals. That's been Manchester United, the D in its view. Make sure you like the video and press subscribe. And if you're on audio, give us a follow and rate the show. Thanks for watching. D in it out.